Yeah, so it's started with my previous film. Like I was preparing to show it, and I had this moment of this almost tragedy happen, when I was alone with my kid, and somehow I kept coming back, and everything meshed. Like my new film, the one that was then new, and this kind of strange experience of almost tragic event, and I kind of started writing it just in a way dealing with the pressure of presenting a film. I started writing a new one, so it's kind of like digging your own hole again. So yeah, and the whole story came from there. I somehow split myself into the four main characters, adult ones in the film, and I started analyzing how can you differently behave in one moment, because I myself felt bad that when something like this happens, somehow I saw myself from outside, one part of the brain trying to think how I'm going to explain what happened to my wife, and the other part of the brain still working on how I can fix this. So it's kind of, and this was the starting point, and then it kept going and going. Yeah, so my experience was connected to choking, but it was just a bit different. But drowning dry is something you read about. It's a bit of an urban myth, because it's very, very rare. But when you're a parent, you start reading on these rare things that could happen because you're overprotective. So this is something I came about just reading about a story, someone goes into a pool with his kid, and then they return home and he's dead in the morning, which is not true. It's clinically impossible, but it's something that keeps on persisting because it's connected to this fear of having kids and then being exposed to different dangers. So I tried to show it how it's medically how it would happen. It's very gradual. You start by just a bit of water getting into your lungs, and then it gradually gets worse and worse. And of course, if it's not treated, it can lead to suffocation, but you would notice the problems with breathing and everything in advance. So yeah, that's basically the condition. For me, what you give example as a symphony and as different movements, I structurally I thought about repetition and doubling. For me, it was important not coming back to the same thing, but a bit differently. So movement and one step forward, two step back was very important for me to doubling different situations, but kind of when you see them differently. So you see one real fight and you see one spar, and one looks scary and realistic, and another looks foolish and somehow silly, or you could see this male competition developing. So I kind of wanted to keep this kind of rhythm of coming back to something that maybe you know what's going to happen, but it happens a bit differently. Like coming back to a memory, coming back to something that you kind of know what happened, but when you think about it some time later, you see it differently, and you kind of get caught in this process of remembering. So I think repetition and doubling, and it also connects to this dry drowning with it, because it's also a second term is second drowning, it's repetition. And this repetition, I think it's very important because you kind of lose you keep going deeper. One layer is like you understand factually, then you try to understand maybe thematically, and then you go into emotions, and then just leave the film towards just maybe experiencing it. So I don't know. It's kind of hard to relate to a musical question because I have very little background, but I come back to it as structurally in the sense of script writing, because like you keep repeating, and through repeating you keep maybe getting to the essence of things. So that was important for me. I don't know if it answers the question, but thank you. Aside, because I felt like very much like just running all the time, like from the camera to the actors to the monitor to the, because there were always kids on the set, so running, like trying to catch them, and like always in movement. So it was very kind of, it was a big kind of help, because it didn't let me like, you know, get too maybe connected emotionally in the process to what I was actually like filming, to the heaviness of the film. I had to be always on the move, and I think it gave me a bit more energy just to keep trying to find these different solutions. But yeah, I think it's a bit silly from the side, just running there with like shorts, and kids started calling me a coach. Yeah.